Obviously, as a team, we're excited to be 2-0. We got in and watched the tapes Sunday morning as a staff, and we tried to put that game behind us pretty quickly. It was great. The thing I said after the game, it was great to see with us being able to play a lot of players that the standard of playing with a high level of intensity, no matter what the score, no matter who the opponent, it was good to see that from our team. Obviously having a Friday game, we had a short week, so we kind of had to move our schedule up. Today is actually a Wednesday for us in terms of practice. We practice Sunday night under the lights, and like I said, we fly out Thursday to play a game, Thursday afternoon to play a game Friday, so we're a day ahead of a normal schedule. On my return to Illinois, obviously a place probably other than Maryland that for me and my family, a special place. Raised my kids there. I had my two older sons both graduated from high school there, and the two younger ones call it home. So definitely a special place for us. We were able to do some exciting things there. It's the first time, obviously, for Maryland to go there to play, which completes us now having been to every team in the Big Ten with an away game. It starts Big Ten play, which is another season for us, different than the out-of-conference games. It's a Big Ten opener, national TV audience, where we'll be the show. Should be a great crowd, and we're excited about the opportunity to go out there. Our captains for this week are Army Finau, Darryl Jones, and Jahari Branch, who's going back to Chicago, his roots. So with that, I'll open it up to questions.
You guys can raise your hands. You have questions. We'll start with Alexander in the middle.
Hey, Coach. I know you mentioned there, obviously, this is your return to Illinois. It's also a return for, Coach Zook. So what have you guys kind of, been talking about this week, reminiscing on memories, and, is there anything you want to take from your time there and apply it to now?
Yeah, we haven't really even discussed it. When you have a short week like this one, the turnaround was pretty quick. Fortunately for us, with the way we're staffed and the way we're organized, we were able to get the scouting reports out a day early. We were able to get them done Sunday, had good meetings with our players, and then went out and had a Monday practice Sunday night. So really haven't had a lot of time to necessarily reflect. It's the start of our conference season, so that part's important. When I look back at our time that we spent in Illinois, as I said, it was a special opportunity. It's the first time I had a chance to be a coordinator, and not surprising that a guy like Ron Zook would give me that opportunity, at 36 years old to run the offense, and we did some really good things. In year 3, we were able to take a team to the Rose Bowl, which it hadn't had since the early 80s. But again, those things are in the past. This is the 21 Terps, the 21 Illini, and other than the fact that Champaign-Urbana to me is next to Maryland, place like I said my kids call home. We're excited about the opportunity.
To your left, Emily.
Hi. You mentioned a couple weeks ago about Dante Demas being a guy who's really grown and mature over the time that you've been here. What exactly has that looked like? How have you seen him kind of develop into a senior leader?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is it starts with the leadership piece. It's hard to lead in front when you're not necessarily a guy that's living up to the standard. And with Dante as a young player, I know he played here a little the year before I got here and made plays. And my first year here, just to see the natural raw ability that he had, he's definitely in line with some of the other great receivers I've had a chance to be associated with. The thing for him that I've seen the biggest growth is the way he prepared for this season. Last year he was a guy who, we turned his name into the NFL as a potential early out. We sat down and had conversations at the end of at the end of the season, and when we talked about where they saw him, we had some really tough, honest conversations about things that needed to be done for him to take that next step. And from that day on, I've seen a totally different Dante Demas. I mean, his preparation, the way he worked this season, the off season, in the weight room, and just individually doing a lot of things on his own to work on the craft of being a receiver. We all know he's a big, strong, fast, athletic guy, but as I've come to find, to be an elite receiver, you've got to be able to be a great route runner and use the fundamentals and techniques to create separation to go along with that speed, power, and strength that he has. And like I said, as of anyone in the program, he's probably the guy that I've seen mature the most when it comes to doing all those little things that we continue to talk about when we in developing a player. And I'm happy to see him start to be rewarded with the consistency in which he's played the first couple of games.
Matt in the back.
Hey, Coach. On the Howard game, I don't believe that I saw him sign the Sealy kite out there. So just kind of curious to see what his status is and his availability for this weekend.
Yeah, he was on the sideline. I think he was not. He actually was dressed out. Mo's been battling with a bout of gout in his big toe, and last week he missed Tuesday and Wednesday's practice. And for us, if you don't practice those 2 days, very rare that I'm gonna allow a guy to play in a game. He's available. He's practiced this week, and so he'll be available to play.
Any more questions? In the back.
Hey, Coach. Coming into the season, one of the bigger question marks was the offensive line. Can you talk about how that unit's developed over the first 2 weeks of the season?
Yeah, it was the biggest question mark, not due to talent, because I think I'm on the record as saying that, they were probably the most improved unit on our team last season. I think the big issue for us is just having the depth that's needed to get through a long season, especially in a conference like the Big Ten and playing in the Big Ten East. So, the first 5 to 7 guys that we've played a lot of football with all have really, really continued to work together. The addition of Eric Harris has really helped because it's created a little more depth for us because of his ability to play center. I like where we're going as a group. The ability to establish the run is really important. It opens up a lot of things for us. They've protected our quarterback for the most part and really given us a chance to play mistake-free football on the offensive side of the ball.
Hand the mic to Wayne in the front. Thank you.
You had a few new guys playing the defensive backfield. Dante Trader had a lot of run. Cita Smith had some run at linebacker, and Bo Brady at safety. How do you rate those newcomers to this defense?
Yeah, Dante played late in the game, and as expected, I thought he played pretty well for a young guy. He's the guy that has shown in practice his ability. He's one of those guys that has a knack for being around the ball. He's a guy that's really active back there on the back end as a safety. So I was glad to see we were able to get him out there mid-third quarter to get some meaningful reps. I think that'll help in his development as we move forward. With Bo Brady, Bo's been a guy that's played, the first 2 games he's played and rotated in, with our 2 safeties. He's kind of the third safety for us. And then, Cita Smith, as he was listed on the depth chart, he missed the first game, coach's decision. We moved him to the linebacker position last spring. He's been there all summer, so for Najee's injury, he's opened up some opportunities for Osita. He's a guy that's really active, athletic, still learning the position there at the inside linebacker position, but I think his size, speed, and his knack for being around the ball really showed up on special teams as well.
Timothy in the back.
So hey, Coach, just kind of pivoting. There was the world's largest go-go at halftime. So kind of explain for me your love for go-go music, being a DC guy, and since I'm from Baltimore, I'm kind of uncultured. Can you give me a couple song suggestions I could look up on the way home?
Yeah, in jest, it was the world's largest go-go. I think I've maybe been to a few that maybe not had as many people as we had out there, but that was a knockoff the world's largest outdoor cocktail party. I think they don't even call it that anymore in Florida, but in an effort to be funny. But no, go-go music is a part of the DNA of this area. I grew up in the southwest section. It's a part of our fabric. For me, if you ever get here early enough, our team usually comes out to Do You Know What Time It Is by Rare Essence. Big Chuck Brown fan. Petworth back in the day. Trouble Funk. I can name all of them. But it's been a part of my DNA. Growing up in the city, it's ours and we own it. I love everything DMV. So it was good with Howard being our opponent to kind of add that flavor to the game. And, I thought our marketing people did a phenomenal job of promoting it, and I think our fans enjoyed it.
In the back on the TV stands, David.
Hey, Coach. Tight end Quanco, you didn't get to see last year because inactive because he didn't play. So what did he kind of have to do, if anything, to kind of earn his way back onto the field these first 2 games, and how impressed were you with his development in those games?
Yeah, Chig is a guy that didn't necessarily need to earn his way back in. Obviously, he had a medical situation last year that prevented him from playing, and due to the COVID situation. He's a guy that went through spring ball. He was around our team last year as much as he could be. As we saw, he's a talented guy. He's one of those guys that's on the Mackey watch list and very deserving of that honor. I think he's a matchup problem, for people because of his ability to block the C area, as well as a route runner and the matchups he created. And, he's a guy that we're going to continue to try to find ways to get him the ball. He's been a little nicked up. He was a little nicked up going into the Howard game, and we're hoping that he can be back at full force this weekend for us.
Leap in the back.
Coach, Brandon Peters is back as the starting quarterback for Illinois. There's not a lot of tape on him as is stands in the season, but what have you seen from him in the past, and how are you preparing for Peters back under center?
Yeah, I think there's plenty of tape on him from last season. I'm very familiar with him from the recruiting process when he started at Michigan. Played for a good friend of mine, Pep Hamilton, a guy that has a strong arm, a classic drop back passer that throws the ball accurately, and for them to get him back for our game is definitely a concern, because I thought the other kid, Sikowski, had also been playing decently well for him, not turning it over. So they've got 2 good quarterbacks, and there'll be a challenge for us. Obviously when you got a guy like him who can throw the ball and make all the throws, it'll be a great challenge to our defensive backs this week, and I know they're looking forward to the opportunity to compete.
Jacob in the 3rd row.
Hey, Coach, going back to Chig, he's been a big target for you guys in the red zone. What do you know about kind of his relationship with Talia and just kind of what makes him so important to you guys when you're in the red zone?
Yeah, and hopefully it's not just in the red zone. I think we've seen the byproduct of it because he scored a couple of touchdowns in the first couple of games. But, tight ends are a big part of what we do. Corey Dyches was able to come in and have some catches. But like I said, Chig being a little banged up has limited us in terms of how we've been able to use him. And hopefully this week we can get him back to close to 100%. But the relationship between Chig and Talia, our offensive unit, pretty tight-knit group, and a lot of it is due to the fact that Talia has really played a role in creating that chemistry that's necessary. It was a big-time throw by him and big-time catch by Chig on the touchdown catch. I only think that as we continue to, get through the season, you'll see more and more of what Chig's skill set is, and as he'll be a major playmaker for us in our system.
Hey Coach, Brandon Jennings has been a positive factor on the defense through 2 games so far this season. What can you say about his play so far, and can you just describe his play style a little?
Yeah, I think we talked about him earlier this summer. He was one of the freshmen that I thought had a good training camp for us. Due to the depth at linebacker, he was a guy that's been running with the 2s for the most part. And I think, as I said in the summer, that his style of play is very physical, a very heavy-handed type player where you saw him force a fumble in the first game against West Virginia. He throws his body around. He's one of those guys that plays with a lot of energy, big energy guy, which you love to see. So for him to be able to start a game as a true freshman, he started the game versus Howard, shows that we've got a lot of, we believe in him as a player. He's got some natural abilities, and I think he'll just continue to get better for us with the more experience he gains.
Hey Coach, I think today was the first time I've seen Damian Robinson on the depth chart as a backup Sam linebacker. I know he's kind of been playing a lot these first couple 2 weeks, so I'm kind of curious to see what you've seen about him, and I guess what have you seen that made him maybe the backup over Frankie Burgess?
Yeah, we're not able to put a lot of guys on the list. I mean, Dustin gives me like a small sheet of paper, but as you said, he's been playing every game. He's averaging about 20 to 25 plays a game. When you look at what he's done in the first 2 games, and he's played Jack. We moved him over to Sam. Frankie missed some extensive time after, the first quarter there in the Howard game where he dealt with a little hamstring injury. So obviously with his flexibility, Chop's ability to play both outside linebacker positions, he'll play some Sam. He'll also play some Jack. Again, one of the best natural pass rushers in our program. We'll continue to bring him along. as I like to do, I'm going to play a lot of players. I want to develop our roster so that when we do have these injuries that seem to happen and occur every time because of the physicality in which we're going to play, that these guys have enough experience and game reps to where they're not going out there kind of brand new. So, yeah, Chop's really been a great one of the young guys that has really helped us and has played pretty well for a freshman so far.
Okay, thank you, Coach.
Thanks, guys.
We'll have